how's it going down there in Texas? How's it feel?
It's
It's got to
good.
be a lot different than years past going in the first and second rounds, but still feel pretty good to be there.
It's definitely better to be home, no question, in front of Beaver Nation, in the first rounds of the tournament. But under the circumstances, things are good. We had a great practice last night. We were on a Alamo Dome court last night for our practice, and it was cool how it was set up. Big screens, you probably saw the pictures. And so it was nice to, have all the testing done and just get settled in and then get out on the court. And I thought it was a really focused, good workout. So things are going well.
Scott, I know that there's a lot of discussion about what's going on adjacent to the tournament and not necessarily what's going on the floor right now. But I have to ask, from the testing perspective, are you guys getting PCR tests at all? Have you seen those, or is it strictly antigen tests that you guys have received at this point?
Antigen is what we have had from what I know. And so, yeah, they did. We go through the process, take the test, wait a few minutes, get our results, come back.
Have you heard any concerns from other coaches or programs about a lack of PCR testing down there at all?
I have not.
As for your team, you got a few freshmen that are down there for seeing the tournament for the first time, seeing the environment for the first time. And, some of your sophomores are as well. What's it been like for them, given that this is a relatively irregular tournament experience than what they might be getting in a non-COVID, non-bubble year?
Well, it's still pretty early, to be honest. I mean, normally we're traveling in today, to play, 2 days from now. And so that's been one of the odd things this year, is how early we're here. And I have to be honest, it's been cool seeing so many other teams. The other night, as we were waiting for our tests to come back, the initial time we got tested once upon arrival, on our way there, we were passing teams. We actually passed Oregon, we passed Texas A&M, we passed Tennessee. We saw Iowa, in the testing center or facility, and it had kind of a festive feel. There's so much excitement. We're walking back and people are yelling out of one hotel, because we know people on other teams, and so for that, it's really unique. I mean, that never happens, in the NCAA tournament. The four coaches at each site would see each other, in our meeting before the rounds begin, and then we see each other on the court, and that's kind of it. And so this environment, we have four other teams or three other teams staying at our hotel here, which has been cool to see them. And so, not that we can see them, but you know what I mean? We pass each other. And so under the circumstances, that's been pretty cool. The rest of it being in our rooms, obviously is probably not ideal, but such is life, right? For the last year for everyone. And so, so I would say they haven't quite experienced tournament yet. That's coming. But so far, I think the young players have adapted well during their first time through. They were sharp and had great energy last night in practice, and we'll be heading to practice here in a little bit. And, I would assume the same.
As a coach, do you like this extra amount of time to focus on, one team because you don't know a lot about Florida State, obviously. Do you like having that extra amount of time, or do you kind of go maybe a little crazy because you're in a bubble so much that you have too much time to kind of go over things?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's, it is similar kind of to like the Oregon game, when we had a full week to prepare, a few weeks ago. And I've never minded a preparation time. You probably know that, Steve. But it is a little bit strange being here, just quite as early as we are. That's unique for a road trip, which is what this feels like. And so I think everybody's handling it well from what I can tell, and the staff's done a great job. And so we love preparing. I mean, that's the culture of this program. And so we're excited to, as it approaches, it just builds. And so today we do a little bit more of the scout, and tomorrow we'll just be going over things one more time, before we play on Sunday.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, did you see the practice and weight training that has been offered by the NCAA, and just do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's why they pay you the big bucks, man. You have to ask those questions. I know. And yeah, of course, everybody's seen that by now. The whole world's seen it, it seems. And of course, it's not okay. It's not what anybody would want. Those things should be absolutely equal. And I've spent my career in the women's game, 25th year now as a head coach, 28th year coaching women, college women overall. And in most situations that I've been a part of, things have been equal, and I've made sure of it. And why wouldn't it be? So obviously there was a miss there somewhere. Where it is, I don't exactly know. But you'd think that, people would look at what the men are receiving, what the women are receiving, and making sure those things match, at least. And so where that hung up, I'm sure obviously it's being addressed, and it will be in the future for sure. But it's a regrettable error because of for every reason. It's a regrettable error, and I know that the people that are responsible, for those types of decisions and the foresight that it takes to plan in those ways, certainly have regret and are doing everything they can to make it right. And so it's tough. It's tough.
Scott, you've seen Aliyah for 4 years. Sorry, I got some stuff going on upstairs, and you can hear that. You've had her for 4 years. Where have you seen the most growth from her, maybe through the first 3 years, and then specifically this year, going into her senior year? She's just had an amazing year for you guys.
Absolutely, she has as good a year as anyone, I think. I mean, just what she's done has been unreal, with so many new faces, and to galvanize them all together. And while that, leadership has taken so much of her efforts, she has continued to improve her own game and take care of business herself. It's just been a phenomenal performance all year from her, and in every way. And so growth, I think, just taking ownership for everything, making key decisions where it is all on her for the first time. A year ago, you'd say, oh, Michaela Pivik's the leader of that team. Destiny had the ball in her hands more than anybody else last year. And so you'd kind of put that on them. And Aliyah would be a third, or fourth, or sometimes second option, but was probably never the one. And this year, everybody's looking right at her, and there's really nowhere else to look. And so to step into that and, to do what she's done numbers wise with the efficiency that she's done it when she's the target pretty much every night for the other team's defenses is unbelievable. And so, so just stepping into that, I think that is a big growth moment. There's no way to really prepare for that until you get into it. Defensively, she's really grown. I think that's an area that she has stepped her game up, I know, and certainly, rebounding the basketball and being a part of that, where, a year ago, Mick would clean a lot of mistakes up by herself, right? And so this year, it's been a team effort on the boards, and we've really shown a lot of growth. And so in that area over the last month, so I mean, there's not an area per game that hasn't notched up this year, but I would say defense, rebounding, and then just her, backing up her voice, and stepping into that void of leadership. It's what you hope for everyone in their life, that they get an opportunity for that. And so I couldn't be more proud of her, for the way she's done it, the class she's done it with, and the consistency. It's every moment of every day, exactly the same.
You mentioned at the end of the year the healthy confidence that this team had, and just the way they were kind of conducting themselves and having fun on the floor. Given the week or so layoff that you guys have had, do you think that energy is transferable from where it was in Vegas to getting it out to the tournament here, especially considering bubble life and kind of being confined to your rooms the way that you guys have been?
I think so. I think confidence comes from execution. It's not just like some magic thing that just happens out in the air and you hope you get it. It comes from playing well. And, the better you play, the better you feel. The better you feel, the more confident you are. And then the better you play. And it just keeps going. And so this team has really grown in execution and understanding the game and understanding who they are as a team. So I don't think those things go away. This team is they have so much great experience now to lean upon, and the Pac-12 has prepared us. I mean, you play against the teams we have this year. You know, I've seen our schedule. You look at different ratings you want and give them the validity you want. I mean, I've seen our schedule rated 1. I've seen it rated 4 in the country. I mean, there's not a bad team on our schedule, and we've played the highest rated teams the most, and we've played more road games than home games. And so this team has been thrown to the wolves this year, and just, you know, that outside adversity galvanized us, you know, and taught us just to be a really, really good basketball team. And, you know, so I don't see that going away. We've had great practices. You know, everybody's in the same boat too, right? I mean, we're all been sitting here waiting to play for a couple weeks. And so I would anticipate, you know, that this team's ready to go from the tip. And so that's what my expectation is for them. And so we just can't wait to get back out there. We've been having so much fun playing. It's like, let us do what we love to do. And certainly the schedule is going to allow that here in a couple of days.
You guys have also had, you've had the experience of this kind of living in Vegas already, but I mean, is this as unique a tournament experience as you've ever had as a coach? Just the way things are, and the fact that, you know, you can't go out, can't go eat. You got to order everything to the rooms, and everything is just very hermetically sealed in that way.
Man, that's a great word right there. I love it. I feel like we're prepared for this. You know, this team has had some quarantine experiences this year. I think everybody on our roster has at one time or another for one reason or another. And so we're kind of used to it, to be honest. I don't think that this is, you know, anything really out of the ordinary. You know, we go to the gym, we go back. They've been at home for school all year long. You know, so it really feels pretty natural. Sadly, I'll say that. Sadly, it feels pretty normal not to get to go out to a restaurant or things like that. That's been what our entire year has been like. And so this is just a culmination of it, you know, so it's just more of the same, basically. And I would say that our team's gotten used to it and has found a way to flourish within this environment.
Scott, you've had some time to look at Florida State. How do you, I mean, I know you're going to be confident, obviously, but just looking at that, do you feel really good about the matchups that you have and find some ways that you can, you know, attack them and do it? I know you're not going to give those out, but just, you feel pretty good about what you guys have come up with and the way you guys have prepared for them right now?
I do. I feel good about where we're at. I feel like they're a good team, you know, and it's this time of year. I mean, anybody can beat anybody. And this team has some weapons. They're dangerous. They defend well. They're long at the guard position. You know, they've got a couple of scorers that, you know, score over great defense. You know, they're tough inside. They rebound well. So, you know, they're what you would expect this time of year. It's going to be a great basketball game. You know, at the same time, I think there's, you know, a way to scheme anybody. That's basketball. That's the fun of this, you know. So we've had time to look at them, get ready for them. We've had some good practices leading up to it. We've got to continue to do what we're doing, you know, and adapt as the game goes on. And that's the other thing, you know, this team, I think what everybody has seen with Oregon State this year is, you know, like we look at that Washington State loss in January, we're losing double overtime. We couldn't communicate well enough to shift on the fly enough. We weren't there as a team yet. We just hadn't had enough reps. And now this team's been through it all. Now this team's been through everything. I mean, we there's really nothing we haven't seen. And why we've been able to be successful in that is because we do communicate. We are versatile now. We can shift on the fly, and we're just so much more dynamic as a team on both ends of the floor. You know, that who knows what they're going to do. They've had a week to prepare as well now, you know, so they could come out and throw a couple different things at us. And what I love about this team is I feel like no matter what they do, we're going to be able to handle it and find a way to execute against it, you know, on both ends of the floor, which is really fun, part of the chess match, you know. So this game is unique because you have more time to prepare than any other that you'll have in the tournament if you do find a way to advance. And so you know, we're going to need to do what we do. We're going to need to play with great energy, you know, like we have down the stretch. And, you know, should be, like I said, it should be a great game.
Coach, how has the Pac-12 conference kind of prepare you for this tournament run? And then also your freshman, Aleah, her nerves going into probably one of the biggest game of her young career.
Well, if we've learned anything about Talia, it's that no environment really seems to shake her a whole lot. I think, just from day one coming into our gym and practicing didn't phase her as if she was preparing for it or prepared for it her entire life. First time she touches the ball in a Pac-12 game after 2 practices, she hits an NBA 3, and there's just no looking back. I think people could say, well, she didn't play quite as well against Stanford. Well, nor did anyone on our team. They're really good, and so this environment, I think she's been, preparing for, like I said, and I see her just being Talia, the basketball player in another game. As far as the Pac-12 goes, what I love about our conference is how competitive it is, how well coached it is, how dynamic the teams are. I mean, we see a little bit of something different from everyone that does prepare us. There's no coincidence that the Pac-12 does so well in the postseason year in and year out. And I would assume that this year will be the same. I just think every team that made it in, super happy for Washington State for getting in, first time in quite a while. And, Cammie's done a great job. Well, if you look at them, they're tough as heck. They can score inside, outside. They defend extremely well. I mean, nobody wants to see that team. I would guess that people say the same about us as an 8 seed. And obviously the top 4 have kind of been the top 4 since the beginning, and they're all there for a reason. They're really good, and we make each other better. So I think as we go into this, we're kind of prepared for anything. So yeah, I'm very thankful for our conference, the way it's coached and the way it's played.
Hello, Aleah. How is Texas?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said, how is Texas?
It's good. It's sunny. There's sunshine. That's always a good thing. So, yeah.
I mean, obviously it's really different. You guys played the first 2 years, played at home, and now you're going to first and second rounds in this totally different environment. How different is it? I mean, does it feel almost like you're in the Sweet 16 in the regionals because of the way things are set up, and just kind of that feeling of maybe even then just being back in the tournament after, not being able to play last year?
Yeah, it definitely feels a little different just because, like you said, we're used to kind of being at home during these 2 games, but that's kind of how this year's been, honestly. We've had to adapt. You just kind of go with it, and that's something I think this team has done extremely well this whole year, and just kind of what we're used to. We're just used to going with the flow, and so finding out we were all going to be in San Antonio, and just every day is something new kind of thing, but that's what we're used to, and I mean, we've done a really good job of just adapting as things go.
And the quarantine, I know you guys have had to go through a lot of that this year during the course here. Has that helped you maybe in this situation? I know you guys are excited, but it is different. You're not able to go out and do as much, but do you feel like those past experiences are helping you adjust and get prepared to play the biggest game of the year on Sunday?
Yeah, I think for sure. We know how to get through those things. We know how to communicate in different ways when we are stuck in our hotel room and kind of isolated a little bit. So yeah, I think that for sure has some benefits because we have been through it and we do know how to communicate with each other and stay connected while we are quarantining.
Nice to have a few extra days knowing who your opponent is on Monday, not playing till Sunday to just get everything down so you're as prepared as possible going in there.
Yeah, it is really nice. We are able to have a little bit more preparation. I think it's a little harder at sometimes because we're all so excited for Sunday to be here and start playing. But no, it's definitely nice to have more preparation, be able to focus on ourselves a little bit more before the game and then get into the scout.
So I'll focus on you a little bit. Obviously a senior year getting through here. Just where have you maybe been most proud of the growth of your game, either on the court, off the court, or maybe in both areas? Just what do you take the most pride in going from coming there as a freshman to now here your senior year? You're the leader of this team, and it's what has that been like, and what are you most proud of your growth?
That's hard. I don't know, not really something I thought about. It's kind of weird thinking that I'm a senior, been here for 4 years now, but
I like to throw the hard questions at you, Aleah. Come on.
I know you do. You're good at that. No, I would just say the way I've handled things. I feel like in the past, I've let a lot of things kind of rattle me or like disturb me, not only on the court, but off the court, just different things that are thrown at me. And I would say just kind of the way I've matured and just kind of handling things as we go. And I think that's something that's been really important this year, not letting anything really kind of get me off track, get me off focused. So I would say that's kind of where I think I've seen the biggest strides in myself particularly, and just focusing on what I'm in control of, controlling what I can control, and then just letting that kind of bleed off into my teammates. And then that way they can be confident, they can be calm, and just kind of trusting in the process as well.
On the court, do you feel like you've got, the ability to go to the basket? Obviously, we know you can shoot the three, and I think that mid-range game has come around for you too. Just do you feel pretty well-rounded offensively in different ways of scoring? And maybe is that mid-range game something that you've worked on to add to your repertoire?
Yeah, for sure. I think coming in freshman year, I was really just like 3-point shooter, just kind of stayed on the 3-point line. And then as the years went on, I've kind of been more comfortable going to the basket, attacking the rim more. And then, like you said, this year, just adding in that mid-range, adding that third level of being able to score at has been really important and something that I have been focusing on.
And how fun is it to have some of the youngsters get a chance to get through this and just to share along that journey and to teach them, to give them your, words of wisdom of what you've been through? I know you missed it last year, but the first 2 years, you guys have had a lot of success and fun moments in the postseason.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday. There's 4 of us that have played in the tournament between Taya, myself, Ellie Mack, and Jazz. And then everyone else has never played in the NCAA tournament. So it's a lot of fun just being able to watch them experience these things for the first time. And then obviously, like you said, this year is a little different. So that's something that we're all experiencing for the first time. But no, it's been a lot of fun just kind of being able to talk to them about, hey, like, how are you feeling? Like, we're coming up, it's March Madness, we're here. But so yeah, that's been a lot of fun.
Hey, Aleah, I'm just going to jump in here really quick. This is Brenna with Fox 12. I got to ask about something happening off the court. Obviously, Sedona Prince's tweet getting a lot of attention, the NCAA being criticized for disparity in the amenities there at the tournament. What's your reaction to what we're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, it's for sure disheartening. It's upsetting. But I know the people in the background are working really hard to improve it, make it better. Obviously, that's something that we would never wish to happen. And those comparisons coming out are disheartening, upsetting, like I said. But I know for sure they are working hard to make it better.